Hey everybody, how are you today? This is your old pal Boise on another daily sobriety vlog. I'm listening to a jazz band called the Tom Rogers Band, which I think is cool because I got a cousin of mine named Tom Rogers. He's not that musician, but it's cool. It was a band named after him. And this is a song called Far Away and Very Close. Kind of like a U2. There's a U2 song with that similar title. So Close Yet So Far or something like that. Anyways, we'll lower that down a little bit so we don't get a copyright strike, but it's actually kind of mellow and it's kind of cool in the background and it's kind of fun to have, and it kind of puts me in this really mellow mood because today is Memorial Day and I'm running some errands and I figured I'd stop at the park. There are some people that are picnicking. There are some people that are just enjoying the sun, playing frisbee. There's some people in the pavilion that are painting, doing some artwork. Got some crafty people here. It's nice by the lake, and it's just a real nice volleyball too. Besides the kids' playground with the swings and the jungle gyms and stuff, and because it's Texas and hot, there's awnings over them like big tents to keep the sun off you because you just burn up. I mean, today it's actually kind of warm. It's 91, and I know my friends back home in Minnesota go, "That's plenty warm," but it's not even humid yet. So when that happens, it really gets rough. And the average when I first came down here was 90, 99, 98 degrees. Now we get a lot of summers where we're at 103, 105. Because there's no such thing as global warming after all these years, right? It's just weather. Yeah, how come I have Phoenix's weather, for Christ's sakes? Just saying, just saying. And of course, we have Phoenix's weather in the summer, and then we have the Gulf of Mexico, so it makes it humid. Ooh, you wear your weather, baby. But I'm not going to go on about that stuff. What I'm going to go on about is being sober, reflecting, because today is Memorial Day. So you think back on people that fought for us, relatives that fought in the wars, worked in the army, even just medical professionals. Cheers. Firefighters, that type of stuff, local heroes, the cops, the doctors, the nurses, people that drive the ambulance, they're all essential people that keep us all safe. And that's kind of the thing. We stop and we recognize the people that had died for us. I saw this great meme. A friend of mine, Justin, posted up on Instagram. I snapped that and captured it. I'll probably post it later on some other things. But it shows a bunch of people just frolicking and enjoying a day at the beach. So cool. That's what it's about. Yeah, picnics and beach, right? And then we tend to forget. The next picture below it is another day at the beach, and it's showing a point of view with the vehicles hitting Normandy Beach and the front dropping and soldiers coming out, and the Nazis are shooting machine gun at these folks, and they're just, some of them are dying as they just get out of the thing. But the thing is, they tried to overwhelm those bullets of a machine gun with people to push through, and obviously the collateral damage is really high. So your day at the beach and your freedom is by these guys providing their day at the beach. So it's a real sharp contrast. But and today I was just going to talk about soldiers and the holiday and stuff. But I had a friend of mine on Instagram. Her mom was best friends with her mom was best friends with my mom. They went to school together in Morgan Park. They were just friends for life. And then my mom married my dad, and then I came along, my brother came along, and then I met Debbie and Kathy, the young daughters of Tootie's kids. And my mom was Rose, my dad is Don, and we just always hung around. And then when my mom died, we stopped hanging around. I kind of forgot about that. I mean, we just, sometimes you drift apart from people and you don't really know why. That was the actual fork in the road, the actual fork. So when Debbie said, when your mom died, that was, we stopped seeing you, and I was like, wow, you're right. And then I shared with her that, you know, it wasn't really good over there. My father and I fought. There was a lot of drugs and alcohol, with me accelerating even more, and with peaks. Later on, I was constantly effed up, but this is when I just starting my altitude and my takeoff. And my dad was always drinking anyways, and he drank even more because after I lost Mom, his wife. And Debbie pointed out that my mom would always tell her mom that if she ever died, Donnie wouldn't be able to handle being alone, and he would get married right away. And my dad got married 6 months after my mom died, which was another bone of contention with me at the time. Now, spoiler alert, fast forward towards the end, and my stepmother, Leone, I would refer to her as Mom, and she would cry. And she thought that was so wonderful that I was so accepting after all these years. And I would hug my dad when they'd leave, and I'd tell them both I love them. My dad would stiffen up, and later on we were able to share that kind of intimacy. I love you too. It took years though, a lot of years, because we come from a family probably like yours. It's like, we don't say we love each other, we just know it. And I do it all the time, and I'm never going to stop. It's like, I love you, 3 words. We don't say we love each other, we just know it, okay? What is that, 14 words? Why all those words when you're going to say I love you? And when you say we just know it, do you? Because you had to say it. Because if you knew it, why'd you have to say it? You didn't say I love you because you know it. But you have to say, we don't say we love each other, we just know it. Well, do you know it? And if you did, then why are you saying it? Kind of a riddle in itself. And it exposes your lack of empathy and your lack of emotions that you're covering up. And you're not being truthful, you're not being honest. And when you're sober, the key is to be honest. The key is to be sober. That's going to be a hallmark. So sometimes I've said things that have completely embarrassed me, but I didn't have the shame of hiding things. And it was exposed right away. And I was able to process it a lot quicker, not have to carry that brick on my back for years to come and stumble around and throw more bricks. I'm always trying to lighten my load emotionally as best I can, because emotions can weigh you down more than anything else. And if you develop hatred, that's really heavy stuff. And you have to alleviate yourself of that, and you just can't turn to someone and say, well, you know what, I don't hate you anymore. No, you got to talk about why you feel they wronged you and how you reacted, and talk about the reason why you reacted to this. It's a process, and it isn't just one conversation with that individual, and it's not one conversation you have in treatment, or it's not one conversation you have in the AA meeting or Narcotics Anonymous meeting where I call it the Dirty Dozen. We're all kind of circling around telling stories, war stories. No, it takes time, especially if you want to process it properly. So Deb pointed out that, we stopped seeing them, and that was the point. And it kind of hit me because, my mom died, and I think of her on Memorial Day too. And her best friend Tootie, which is Debbie's mom, she passed. And my dad passed. And my Uncle Pete, who was Tootie's boyfriend for all these years, never got married, but Pete was kind of a freewheeling dude. He's gone too. And we just stopped seeing everybody because my dad just probably felt awkward going to see a woman who was the best friend of his wife's, and then why would he be there? Because he would think, oh God, that doesn't look good. So when it came to that, he was very, very conservative as far as he didn't want to make things look inappropriate. Drink like hell and fist fight with me, and I'd fight back with him, and we'd tear the house to ribbons, but didn't want to look bad. But it's usually when you worry about that, it's the outside. It's the outside you're looking at, and that's the reason why you're reacting, because you don't want other people to think that about you. So you tend to stay away from that, no matter how strange or awkward it might seem in the end. But I do want to shout out to Deb. Deb, how are you? Love you, baby. she's the one that got me on this idea, and Memorial Day will be talking about that point in my life. I was already experimenting with drugs and alcohol, but like I say, it started to accelerate based on being upset with my mother, and I didn't know how to process that. And I found out that if I got high or drunk, it didn't hurt so much, and eventually not hurt at all, and I didn't have to even worry about it till the next day. And then if I did some more dumbass shit on top of that, you could throw those bricks on top of the brick and the burden I had of my mother, and then the hatred I had for my dad at the time, and even my stepmother, and it gets to be a pretty heavy weight. And it's hard to shake that loose. You can't just do it yourself. It took treatment, it took therapy, it took a lot to go through. And then when my dad and Leon would come down to visit, they would go see his sister-in-law, Leon's sister, in Florida. They would come through Nashville, kind of on the way, I guess. And then we moved to Houston, and then they looped around and see us, and then go across Highway 10 all the way to Florida. It's a big loop. Oh, it's on the way. No, it wasn't, but it was great. And in between every Thanksgiving and Christmas, between those two important dates, they would show up. And they would show up for the day. They would refuse to stay at the house, because I don't think my father felt comfortable being in my home. I think he liked to be in control as best he could, and it's better they got a hotel room real close by. And of course, the business I was in, the restaurant business, I would broker some things and go, hey man, I can get you a couple days at the Holiday Inn. Oh, they got great coffee, great breakfast, perfect. And he liked that. He didn't mind me getting him a free room. He just didn't want to stay with me because he would feel, I think, vulnerable and feel like he was obligated. If I'm getting him a room and it was already free from another vendor I knew, hey, it's just free. It isn't like I paid for it. And then he'd always do something crazy, because they'd always thank me and Kim, my wife, and then they'd leave an envelope. They wouldn't give it to me because they knew I wouldn't take it. So they'd leave an envelope on the kitchen table with like $200-300 because we got him rooms. So basically my dad paid for the room, and that he insisted on always doing that. And the other day I was going through straightening out my sock drawer of all things, and I got concert tickets and things like that in there. And there was a clip in an envelope. I'm like, what is this? Forgot all about it. My dad's been gone for years, and there's $400 or $500 and 5 $100 bills. So from beyond the void, Dad just paid me again. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about this. So I told Kim, I said, the next time you're on the road, because she's a jazz musician, just use it. It's my dad's way of saying, hey, hotel room's on me, baby. You know, it's kind of cool. So there it sits. I said, use it when you go back on the road. Last time they were in New Mexico. So it's kind of fun. And it's a connection with the past. Talking to Debbie today was a connection with the past. And we update in the future. And it's cool that we're talking to each other on Instagram. And I'll send her some silly ass fart joke reel, or cats doing something, because I love cats, just little dumb stuff, and just try to make her giggle, make sure she enjoys her day. And then we just share little personal messages and reminders. Hey, remember this when we were this age? Remember this? You know, we end with, I love you, you're great, thank you so much. That's what the internet is supposed to be. Not, hey, Debbie, let me tell you what I think about the current administration. Or, hey, Debbie, let me tell you what I think about the past administration. Hey, Debbie, I wasn't very good in high school, so I wasn't good at social studies, or they call it civics now. But let me tell you what I think I know now because I listen to talk radio. No, I was actually highly educated, so I don't do that. But a lot of my family and friends who barely got through high school, yeah. I was watching a documentary the other day, and I learned more about World War II in the last hour of watching that than I did the whole time in school. Well, because you were in school, your head was up your ass. Here, you were half watching it, eating chips and drinks, and watching all the black and white action. Oh, look at that, people getting shot, look at the planes crashing. But if we actually pulled the test out, you would have failed too. So, but there's no test. It's like, well, I remember this, and now I know everything. No, you don't. And now I'm going to tell you what I think of the world. No, please don't. Not unless you can back it with some sort of evidence, some sort of facts. Quit screaming witch hunt, hoax. Just tell me what the F it is. And if you don't have an answer, then just please shut up. We don't need it. The craziest thing is I got some people that live outside my neighborhood, and I drive by and I go, good God, there are so many flags and posters and things in their front yard. It looks like my uncle's Facebook page. What the hell? In real life. It's weird. And that guy's lowly educated. I mean, I remember when he was like, if you voted for Biden, you owe me gas money. Okay, Trump's in Iran. What are you going to do about gas now? It's like the chicken of logic does not cross the road. It's amazing. I'm thinking about that kind of stuff because we got soldiers that are in harm's way on Memorial Day for a war that no one can explain, and the economy's completely crapped out. So it's like, we got a lot of problems in this world, a lot of problems in this country. And Facebook and the internet is half the problem. But like I say, communicating with Deb about this stuff, it's great. And we can talk about some personal things, share some intimate stories, and we can actually share it. And I've done more communication with her in the last 6 months than I probably did the whole time I knew her as a kid. We spend a lot of time together. We watching TV or listening to music. You're not exactly talking, but you're hanging out, and you get the vibe off everybody, which is great. And it's a great feeling, and it's a comfortable feeling. But this on the internet stuff is fantastic because we can actually talk a little more personally about her and I. And I can see her family situation by the pictures and the photo albums she's got on Facebook and whatnot and on Instagram. And she can do the same with me. So she can say, oh, that's what his wife looks like. Oh, that's, that. I don't have to send you a picture. You can just see it right there. And we can get on to our points that we want to talk. So it's more streamlined, and it's really more intimate and personal, even though it's just like texting each other. But you can cover a lot more intimacy by not even being face to face, that's the miracle of the internet to me. I do it face to face because that's the miracle of being sober and being open and honest. So that's how I approach it. But other people who aren't familiar with that type of lifestyle, they would do it this way. And hopefully not me showing you some, listen, I found this on the internet. I found a meme farm and I found this, and this is exactly what I feel like. So I'm just going to send it to you with an American flag and a peace sign and an emoji thumbs up. You said it all right there, didn't you, Billy Bob? Good Lord. But that's the whole thing, is you have to be open with people. I think women are more likely to be open and honest with their emotions, and men are more likely to be closed off because we're raised to be strong and silent and be the protector and blah, 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 blah. And I remember even being in treatment in the Dirty Dozen, and I heard it there. I heard it every time I'm in a treatment counseling thing. Some guy all the time sounds like Robert De Niro and with Billy Crystal and Analyze This, or they sound like Tony Soprano, and they do this gangster thing like, hey, I'll talk about emotions, but if you turn me into a fag, I'm going to fucking kill you, okay? Yeah, that pretty much sums up the gangster guy attitude. So, to open up, basically they were saying is you got to be a fruit, you got to be gay to open up with your emotions. You're supposed to hold them in, or like that 10cc song. Big boys don't cry. Big boys don't cry. Big boys don't cry. It's like, yeah, that was kind of a good little poke in that song. And check out 10cc. I mean, they got some really great songs, and they're very clever. I'm always suggesting music because sometimes that's your key to discovering emotion or tweaking even your own nose. Oh, it is okay to cry. Oh, I thought big boys don't cry. So you have your emotions, you try to keep your emotions open. And like Memorial Day can be very emotional if you lost somebody recently. And even if it's like for my mom, she was 39 when she died, and I was 18. So man, that was years ago. That was quite a few years ago. I don't even want to count how many years ago. I'll probably get dizzy. But the thing is that I remember her, and it kind of chokes me up and brings a tear to my eye. But I'm not flowing all the time. But I have cried sometimes, 30, 40 years later. And it's just something will sometimes trigger it. And obviously Memorial Day will trigger that. If you have people that have been in the service, my dad was a Marine, that type of stuff, thank you for your service, sir, triggers things like that. And especially if they died in war or combat or defending this country. Yeah, you remember that this day is for them supremely. And then anyone like my mom who died behind them, and then anyone who just lost a child or whatever, it's Memorial Day. It's a remembrance day. You're remembering someone. And Deb's little text today, or DM on Instagram, got me thinking. And that's all I wanted to talk about, because here I am at the park watching two ladies, grown women, on the swings and the kids thing. It's a big swing and it's got big metal bars, so it isn't like a McDonald's playground. It's like it's a big swing. So two ladies are swinging away. One lady's actually filming them right now, and they're having a picnic at the table. So how fun is that? That's a great memory. And maybe they're celebrating grandpa who's no longer with them, or grandma. Maybe their dad died in a current war, because the oldest one looks like she's probably about 30 and the other one's about early 20. And then the older lady who's not on the swing, she's probably about 45, so she's probably mom. But I don't see any men there. So, but in this world today, you don't even have to die. A lot of men just disappear because they puss out and don't do their obligation. And I've been accused of that myself too. So, you pay up, and if the government is covering child support, you end up paying the government anyways through your your tax returns. So you do end up paying. The government's like the mafia. F you, pay me. So you can't get away from it, even though you're not involved with people's lives, whether you don't want to be, or they don't want you back, or whatnot. In my case, they didn't want me back. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Do whatever I can. I had this one gal tell me, I want you to come by every year and just stop in, and if we want to talk to you, well, like, what? I'm not gonna do it every month then. No, I'm not gonna get hazed like that. You know that I'm open and I'm sober, okay? And I remember this gal, her first reaction was, I told her, I said, I'm sober and I'm trying to tie up loose ends, and I was still in the treatment house. And she said, we haven't been together for 5 years. What do you think you're trying to do? Nothing. I'm just trying to fix what I wrecked during my drug use. And I know that I physically smacked you around one night. So I'm one of those guys that can get wasted and beat up a woman in his life. I get to carry that shame with me. The best I can do is realize that if I stay sober and I'm open and honest, I will never hit another woman again. But I have in the past. And I'm not going to minimize it by saying one time, but I know people in my family that are still doing it to their wives. So if you ask their wives who are being beaten, they would probably say, I like that Boise's idea better. If I just got hit once and it was done. Not that that's justifying what I did, but it's a lot better than the gauntlet they're going through. So, you think of things on Memorial Day. You think of your past. You think of people that are gone. Deb said something that my mom would be very proud of me. That's really cool. And she's right. And, my dad and I, we had a bad beginning, bad middle part of our lives, my life. But in the end, everything got really better. And I was able, my last words to my father literally was, I love you. And he said, I love you too. And I remember my brother, when he called and said he would taking him off the ventilator, and he's in a coma. He probably can't hear you, and maybe I'll hold the phone to his ear. You want anything to say? No. And he kind of got edgy. What do you mean, no? I said all I had to say. Every time he leaves the house, I say, I love you. What? Every time we get off the phone, I say, I love you. What? And he says, I love you too, boys. What? We don't talk like that in this family. Yeah, but I moved 1,300 miles away, and in my family down here, we do. And quite frankly, if it was a contest, if the last thing you say is I love you, you win. So I won. If you say I love you to someone in a coma, it is the last word it's the last words you said to that person, but you really don't know if they heard you. I know for a fact my dad heard me, because his response was, I love you too, boys. And if that's the last thing you do to send somebody off, you win. And Memorial Day is just a little more peaceful. It's still sad, it's still mournful, but it's also a part of a celebration. And it's more peaceful at your heart, less of a storm in your soul. Remember, I'm always telling you about the hole we have in our soul, and we're always trying to plug it up with drugs or alcohol. How about with words and love? That's a stronger bond, baby. You gotta have that. But anyways, thank you for listening to the daily sobriety vlog. Recapping my stats, today is Monday, May 25th. I've been sober for 14,300 days. What a cool round number that is, I'm telling you. 39 years, 1 month, and 22 days. 469 months. Good God. And in the words of Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead, what a long, strange trip it's been. And I thank you for coming along with us. Everyone that's joining us, thank you for Patreon. Thank you for Cash App, Venmo, Buy Me a Coffee, Ding, 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 Chime. This is all tax exempt, going to the Temple of Sobriety. We have a lot of different shows in the podcast that we got coming up. Like 2-3 different shows that I'm going to be on myself, and there are other people doing other shows, and I guess this is going to be like one big umbrella under the Temple of Sobriety. But you know, you'll get the gist. You follow me. There's this is more serious for people that are trying to rebuild their lives. I got another one of the podcasts that's a little more comedic, and I'm a little more goofy, because I tend to have a good, funny sense of humor. Go figure. But you know, the thing is with humor is unspeakable tragedy is turned into humor. So just like in the Middle Ages, when they tried to turn lead into gold, they had alchemists that would try to turn lead into gold. I'm a bit of an alchemist myself. I turned the turds and the shit in my life into gold. Who would have thought? And you know, gold smells a lot better than the shit that I got out of. So, yeah. I mean, you're on video here, so you can't really smell, but I think you get the idea. But thanks for joining me. Thank you for for helping us with the outreach program. Thank you for being part of everything. Hey, Deb, thank you for the idea. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you. Getting all choked up. It's Memorial Day. Emotions run wild. It's good. Let them out. Let those ponies run, baby. Let them run. And in the words of Ringo, peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. I love the fact that you join me every day with these things. And we got more coming up and more loaded up and more coming your way. So thank you very much. Thank you for the sobriety community. And of course, once again, thank you to my friend Deb. Love you, baby. Love everybody else that's watching the video. And I guess, like Ringo said, peace and love. I love you all. And Help me celebrate my 14,300th day sober. God, I almost bit my tongue saying that. Thank you. Love you. Bye.